Well, good Monday morning to you. Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. We're down here in Houston. We just finished a 34-hour break. We're about to go deliver a load, and I wanted to talk to you guys some more about Swift Transportation. They have about 38 terminals is my understanding, and while I have not been to all of them, I have been to 6 of them, and I wanted to tell you guys about the 6 that I've been to so far, and the one that was my least favorite of the bunch. So before we do that, you guys give me a thumbs up, share this video on your social media platforms. Look down below, and there's a lot of great information there about ways you can help the channel, and information that a lot of you guys constantly ask me, like, what's my email? What's my Instagram? What's my Facebook? If I'm interested in going to work at Swift Transportation, who should I contact? I'm going to put Michelle's information at the top of my comments below too, but you guys check that stuff out and you'll be glad you did. All right, we got 6 terminals to get to and not a lot of time to get there. So without any further ado, we're going to fire up the music and jump right in. Here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs, with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round, for my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. And this is why I do this.
Alrighty, we're back. So I've actually been to 7 terminals, and I want to tell you about those. As I finished my intro, I thought, oh, there's one more. So yeah, there's 7 terminals I've been to. The first one was in El Paso, Texas, and I was going there to look at a truck, and I got there and it didn't meet my expectations, so we had to find me another one. But I do want to talk about the El Paso terminal. I got there, I didn't know where to go, who to see, and so I knocked on one of the glass doors. An older gentleman with kind of gray hair and a gray beard, kind of looked like a slender Santa Claus, if that kind of helps you get a mental picture of him. I wish I'd have got his name because he's a great guy. When I told him what I was there for, he actually left his office and walked me around to where I needed to go. He actually told me who to see, kind of told me what to expect. He was the closest thing to an orientation I got at El Paso. And so I was really grateful to him. The guy that runs the shop there, super nice guy. One thing that shocked me about this terminal, because I was used to companies where the shop people would kind of talk down to the drivers. I didn't experience that here. At this El Paso terminal, the shop people treated me like a customer at a dealership. You know, it was a real great experience the way they treated me there. The parking lot, even though this is a small terminal, is pretty big. There's tons of parking there. We were just in El Paso a couple of days ago, and I actually considered stopping there. I got loaded early, so it didn't make sense to stop there. But had I not got loaded early, we would have probably spent the night at that terminal. I did not get to see the driver's lounge while I was there. But the parking lot was really clean. The building was in great shape. There's actually one terminal that wasn't my favorite, and we're going to talk about it in a little bit. But they are remodeling a lot of the terminals. There's, again, like I said earlier in the intro, there's about 38 terminals, and I've been to 7 of them instead of 6 of them, like I said in the intro. But from El Paso, I went to Lancaster, Texas. And Lancaster is where I thought my home terminal would be, and it ended up not being. I'm currently based out of Oklahoma City. The Lancaster terminal, it was super hot there, and granted, that's not Swift's fault, but I did find that's where I got the Freightliner. Great truck. I want to talk about the shop and the office here. The office people, I went in there, and I was about to have to take the rental car back to the airport. And I asked them, I said, hey, is there any way the shuttle driver could run me follow me over to the airport to drop the car off and give me a ride back to the terminal. And they were actually trying to figure out a way to do it. And I don't mean, yeah, we'll see if we can. I mean, they had me go upstairs and talk to the people that do orientation for the company drivers. And they would have probably done it, except they had a class that was getting out and they had to run them to the hotel. And it just wasn't possible for them to do. But you could see them mentally really struggling. How can we help? What can we do? And so, sometimes when you have a problem, it's not always about getting your way, but it's about if they're trying to do the right thing. And I really felt like Lancaster went out of their way to try to help me. And I'm referring to Lancaster, Texas, which is right there in Dallas. The terminal is super nice. I did go in the driver's lounge. And the thing that impressed me about the driver's lounge is every other company I've worked at, I sat in there for about an hour and listened. Every other company I've worked at, the drivers are in there moaning, oh, I got ripped off. I had this terrible load. My truck's a piece of junk. I went into this break room and drivers were laughing, having a good time. There was joy in the room. I wanted to go back. At one point, they wanted me to go upstairs and talk to them about the shuttle van. And I said, can somebody buzz me in? And they're like, oh, come on in. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to companies where there's bulletproof glass and you can't get to the dispatchers. And you walk in there and there's people interacting with their dispatchers and they're laughing and having a good time. And the overall morale of the Lancaster terminal is something that really stuck with me. Also, I went out in the shop, and I'm trying to make this brief, I really am. And it blew me away. It was like a dealership parts department. It was like a dealership service window where you went up, told them what you needed. And when I went in there to get the keys, the service writer wasn't there, but one of the head mechanics was there, and I told him the truck number, 222999. And he said, oh yeah, I inspected that truck. And he said, after you look at it, let me know what you think. So I went out there and looked at it. I said, man, I love that truck. I can't find nothing wrong with it. He said, yeah, I couldn't find nothing wrong with it either. And I said, I hadn't had a Freightliner in a lot of years. I said, what do you think about Freightliners? And what do you think about the 2022 model in specific? And he gave me his honest opinion of the truck. We talked for probably 10 minutes. And it was just real nice to not, a lot of these companies, the mechanics are like, what do you want, driver? And they want you to get out of there. This guy was offering information. He was telling me how much he really liked that truck. And I got out there, and as I started moving stuff in, I found one flaw with the truck. The driver's seat wouldn't slide back and forth. I walked over there and told him, said, hey, I found a small problem. The seat won't slide. He said, pull it around here. I'll fix it real quick. And so I pulled around to the bay, and he climbed in there with some prong-looking things that are bent kind of in an L shape. And he worked with it for a second, and he got it fixed. And he basically said it's just a new seat, and as it wears a little, it'll start sliding better. The pins were sticking. And so already I'm seeing a pattern now. I've been to 2 terminals where they treat the drivers like humans. And I know that should be a given at any company, but I'm here to tell you it's not. And so that tells you something about the leadership here, that they're really driver focused and wanting the drivers to have a good experience. And I would highly recommend the Lancaster shop for you Swift drivers if you have any repairs needed, because I had a super great experience there. All right, we got to keep moving. I went to the Denver, Colorado terminal next. It's again kind of a smaller terminal. I bought some fuel there. And I want to say that about all of these terminals. I'm probably buying 75% or more of my fuel at the Swift terminals just because it is ridiculously cheap. And there's usually not a long line at the fuel islands. You can get in and out. If you're doing it at the beginning or the ending of your day, there's a lot of parking there. So if you're not fueling at the Swift yards and you're an independent contractor for Swift, you're potentially missing a lot of savings. And I'm talking about, like in Phoenix, the fuel I purchased was like 75, 80 cents a gallon cheaper than the surrounding truck stops. In some cases, $1 cheaper than the surrounding truck stops. And you think, it's only $1. Well, when you're buying 150 gallons, that's $150 in savings. So it is a big deal. It is something to consider. The Denver terminal, if I had to knock it a little bit, it gets really crowded. There was a lot of trucks parked in there, which I hadn't experienced at any of the two prior terminals. And I did have to kind of get creative with parking. The facilities were great. It's a nice terminal, just a little small on parking. But for those of you that's been to Denver, you know the truck stops are the same way. There's never any parking at the truck stops. I would still go to this terminal again, and I would just know that parking might be an issue. All right, let's talk about my home terminal, Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, I'm not going to be able to share a lot with you. I went after hours, I fueled there, and I left. This was also my home terminal back in the 90s when I first started at Swift. The fuel pumps were fine. The DEF was fine. It's on a separate deal. They have a clipboard there and it's on the honor system. You put how much DEF that you got. I'm sure they have some way to verify it, so you guys don't do any funny business. Pay for your DEF and write the correct amount down that you got. Super clean terminal. There was tons of parking here, and so this would definitely be a great place to stay if you're in the Oklahoma City area. The next terminal I went to was Memphis, Tennessee. And let's be honest, Memphis can be a really dirty town. I had pretty low expectations for this terminal. I wasn't planning to go there, but we ended up having to T-call a load there. And this is the one terminal that I've got one negative on. I went there and the fuel pumps were down. And for what I'm being told from a lot of people, that's a pretty regular occurrence there. Other than that, it was excellent. You guys know I did driver appreciation there. And my one comment about this terminal is it's enormous. I called my wife. I was like, I've been to some big terminals, but this one's really big. And I was telling some people when I was in Phoenix, which is another one we'll get to in a minute, that I'd really like to video some of the terminals, but like Memphis and Phoenix, they're so big, I don't think I could do it with a drone. I think I'd have to rent a helicopter to show you the terminal. The one, for example, the one in Phoenix is 155 acres, and that's a big piece of real estate. And the Memphis one might not be that big, but it is enormous. You definitely would be tired if you tried to walk it, and it'd be a 3 or 4 hour video. So that's my only deal about Memphis. I wish the fuel pumps was working. Hopefully they will be next time I go there. Albuquerque. This was the first terminal my wife had been to. And it has, you know, the fuel's fine. I fueled there. The terminal had plenty of parking. I was able to park on the front row, actually. One downside is it's one of those terminals they're remodeling, like I was telling you about. And it didn't have all the amenities that you expect at a terminal. You know, they a lot of them have ice and water machines, theater rooms, workout facilities. This was a really basic driver's lounge. Now, I'm not saying that it's bad. It's on par with what a lot of trucking companies offer. It was clean. They had a friendly person working the window, but it was just subpar compared to the rest of the terminals I'd been to so far. And I'd love to check it out again once they get those remodeling things done. All right, the final one I wanted to talk about on this list is the Phoenix terminal. I've touched on it in some other videos, but it is enormous. And it was big back in '97, the last time I was there, but it's grown. Just to give you some perspective, I was up in the front corner kind of the building, talking to some people in there, and I told them I had to walk back to the body shop to get that refrigerator done and stuff like that. And I said, oh, they was like, we'll take you on the golf cart. I was like, oh, I don't mind walking. How far is it? 155 acres. It was literally as far opposite end of the complex as it could be. I was like, I think I'll take that golf cart ride. And then when we got back there, The golf cart wasn't there. My wife and I thought, we'll just walk back. It was 108 degrees. We got not even halfway, and my wife was red-faced. I was pouring sweat. And the lady that had took us on the golf cart to the body shop, I guess she was on her way to her office, and she saw us out there, and she picked us up and took us back up front. And boy, we were grateful to see her. And then later they took us back out to our truck when the repairs were completed. So the Phoenix terminal, again, I would love to show you, and it's been suggested to me that maybe instead of showing you the whole facility, maybe I could show you the quote-unquote driver areas, like driver's lounge, things like that. And we may do that in an upcoming video if that's something that you guys want to see. I've already touched on the Phoenix terminal as far as how well the tire shop treated me, how well the body shop treated me, what we thought of the Jake Brake Cafe there. And you can go back and check those videos out. But I can save you a lot of time and tell you that everything has just been great. And you know, I hate to do these type of videos where there's not any negative to say, because I realize it's hard to believe. There's so many crooked companies and so many things going on right now. But so far, Swift Transportation has far exceeded what I was expecting. And I realize it's only 30 days and we're still in the honeymoon period. And you guys know me, if things change, I'll come on here and tell you the truth. But right now, I think this is the place to work, and we'll probably do more videos where I'll tell you why I feel that way. But it won't be today. It's Monday and I got to get to work. You guys have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.